Hey friends, welcome to Between the Skeins with Megs Co. I'm Meg, yarn dyer, maker, and the occasional duck wrangler, coming to you from in the studio where color, creativity, and a bit of chaos always seem to collide. So today we are developing a brand new colorway for a local yarn store. They are having an anniversary celebration, so I'm really excited to be working on this colorway for them. They sent me an inspiration photo, so we're going to be working off of that, which is always so fun. So grab your project, whatever that may be, your knitting, your crochet. I'd love to actually hear what you're working on, and your coffee, perhaps a snack for those duckies. And I think it's time that we get between the skeins. So today I am working on developing a brand new colorway. So my local yarn store that's local to me here in Fairport, New York, Liftbridge Yarns, they are celebrating their 6th year anniversary. Love it. And they sent me an inspiration photo and they sent the same photo to all of the local dyers. And I love when they do this because it's so much fun to see how all of the different dyers interpret this photo differently. So it's really so fun. And so each week during their anniversary month, which is the month of November, they're going to be releasing these different limited edition yarns. So mine will be coming out during one of those weeks in November. I do believe mine will be coming out more towards the end of November. So let's get to it. Let's get in. Let's dive in. So I have a batch of Ghost Town DK that I'm going to be doing my color development on. They've requested Ghost Town Fingering, Ghost Town DK, and Mohair. So I'm going to work on this on DK, and then when I'm happy, I'm going to be dyeing batches of Fingering, more DK, and then Mohair. So here is the inspiration photo that we're working from. And I'm going to cheat and look at it on my phone because I won't be able to see it like you guys are seeing it right now. Okay, so it's a really pretty photo this year. I just love how it brings in a lot of like earthy, we've got minerals, we've got wool, we've got silk, wood. The colors are so my colors. We've got purple, a bit of mustard. I love that like little hint of chocolate brown. I haven't really figured out how I'm going to bring that in yet. Loving like the little bits of pastel. Yeah. So I think where I want to start is with just a little bit of light speckling with purple. So we have a pretty deep purple here, and we have some light purples and almost like a pinky purple. So I have two purples that one I know is a very dark purple, and it is almost like a kind of a brownish leaning purple, so I think it'll give us a little bit of that kind of chocolatey color that we're looking for, as well as the purple. And then I have one that tends to break, so I think it'll break into lots of different shades of purple, but also should give us that little bit of pinky purple. It does also tend to break into some blue, but hey, artistic liberty here, so let's go for it. So I wanted to start working with hot yarn because whenever I speckle, I want my speckles to be nice and sharp and crisp. And so I find the best way to do that is to start with acid already in your water, having lots of contact time with the yarn so that that yarn is ready to take that dye, and then the yarn is already nice and hot because heat plus acid means that the dye is going to want to strike that yarn nice and fast so you get nice, sharp, crisp speckles. So this has been heating for a bit of time. I just wanted to flip it so that get even heat and kind of even saturation of water. And so yeah, I'm just gonna I'm just going to speckle this. Always want to make sure that you're wearing your safety mask when you're working with your dye powders, so that you're not inhaling those small particles, just to save your lungs. So here we go. Alright, nothing too crazy. I tried to be kind of light with my hand. I just did kind of a row with the dark purple, a row with the light purple. I can see that that light purple is breaking just the way that I hoped that it would. I think it's going to look really nice. And so every time that I lay a layer of dye, whether it's speckling or dye, I like to make sure that it is completely fixed to the yarn before I manipulate it and add more layers. That's how you get really nice, vibrant colors. If you are going for more of like a muted, muddier effect, you know, keep layering while the dye is still kind of wet and not stuck to the yarn. I like a layered color effect. If the dye is still not struck to the yarn, the dyes are going to mix with each other versus layering. And so I like the effect of them layering versus mixing with each other. I just think it just has a much more brighter, bolder, more vibrant effect, you know, more jewel toned versus more, I know muddier is kind of like a rude word, but yeah, you get that, like, it just muted, it's just kind of the effect you get. So that's all I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this heat. So another like thing I have to consider, like, so from like the yarn dyer's perspective, when I'm trying to plan out these colors, like how I'm going to do this. So I'm on a pretty tight timeline for this. So a little perspective, their anniversary month is November. Today is November 1st, and I'm pretty sure that they've already released their first color. So that's how I know that I have to be at the end of November. Because I haven't dyed this yet. So because I'm on a pretty tight timeline for the turnaround of this yarn, I also have to consider how complicated of a color do I want to create, because I'm on a time crunch, I really have to be conscious of, as fun as like these crazy layered colors are, I can't get myself stuck into a color. I'm going to cover this so it gets nice and hot. I can't get myself stuck into a recipe that is going to take so many layers and layers and layers of color that it's going to take me all day to do, because I need to do quite a few rounds of this color, so it's going to take me potentially a few days to get through this order. So every single, I call them flips, so every single flip needs about 30 to 45 minutes of heat time. So this was one flip, so I'm going to let this heat for like 30 to 45 minutes. So it's just a lot of time where it's just sitting and heating, and usually that's where I'm doing other stuff. I'm twisting, I'm skeins, sometimes I'm sitting and knitting, of course, feeding the ducks, taking the dogs for a walk, washing dishes, you know, lifing. But yeah, so the more flips that you have in a recipe, the longer the day is, and the less pan turnovers that I can do. So, you know, if it takes me all day to dye one pan, then I can't do multiple trays because there just isn't enough time in the day for that. So I have to be really conscious when I have these kind of short turnaround special colorways, and especially a colorway like this where it's just going to happen once, because this is a limited edition. Not that I can't ever dye it again, but I definitely won't dye it again soon because it is a limited edition for this special event. So it's you know, to be respectful to like the event and how special it is. It's not something that I would dye at least in the next year. So I just, again, because like sometimes I just get so excited with the creative process and I just keep wanting to add this and explore that and do that, and then all of a sudden I've created a recipe that takes me 6 hours to dye. So I just have to be very careful and conscious that I really keep this. My goal is no more than 4 flips because this can't take me longer. I mean, 4 flips, if I did 30 minutes per flip, that's still 2 hours, and that's just 2 hours of flipping time. It still needs about 30 minutes before to heat up, and I do like to do an extra 45 minutes or more depending on the types of colors I add. So if I start adding in reds or like those really kind of difficult to exhaust colors, I might even do it for another hour. So 4 flips is about a 4-hour start to finish colorway. And so that's why I want it to limit at that, because that means that if I kept it to a 4-hour colorway, then I could do 2 trays in an 8-hour day is what I'm trying to plan out in my head. Yes, because if I can keep it to a 4-hour recipe, that way I can do 2 trays, and I could potentially finish this entire order in one very long dye day. It would be in I say, you know, 8 hours of dye time, but there's the prep, there's the, you know, the washing, so, you know, it'd still be a multiple day event, but the actual dye day would be one day. So that is the goal here. So I just have to make sure that I kind of keep myself in check, don't let myself get carried away, and that doesn't mean that the color's not going to be awesome. I just have to be very conscious of, as I'm doing these layers, you only have 3 more flips left, you only have 2 more flips left, so, you know, they've got to be good. This is going to be a great color. I'm already excited. Because I've already went in with 2 of my favorite colors, and so that's how we set ourselves up for success. And I've already got another one lined up, which is another one of my absolute favorite colors, and it pops up on like pretty much all my colorways. So that's how we also set ourselves up for success. We just go in with the heavy hitters, the ones that you just know look absolutely amazing and awesome. So okay, so now that I've rambled for half of my break, I'm going to cut the camera, and I'm actually going to check my other pans. So I am working on some restocks of just my shop colorways. Today I've been dyeing a ton of my Empire Estate yarn. So I'm so excited about that. Today I've got, actually the color Empire is what I'm working on today. So all of the pans in the other room are loaded up with Empire on Empire Estate, so that's exciting. And then in this pan I have, actually this is a customer request. I have not, it's just heating, I haven't started it yet, but I've got, I don't know if you can tell, but I've got a little bit of fiber. So this is some Polworth combed top spinning fiber, and I got a request to do my Buffalo Bills colorway, my Buffalo Bills team colorway, on some spinning fiber. So I'm really excited to try that out. A little nervous because I've never dyed this on fiber before, but also super excited because yes, this should be on fiber. So this is heating up as well because that is a color that hits red, white, and blue for the Buffalo Bills team colors. But you definitely want to make sure that the red and the blue does not mix, because you don't want any purple at all. No, like purple ruins it. So it makes me nervous because this is non-superwash fiber and it takes the dye slow, very, very slow. So I need this to be piping hot, so that it's going to take it fast. And I'm probably definitely going to just do one color at a time, let it completely strike and exhaust, and then add my second color. So again, I can just be very careful that it's not spreading around. I don't know, a little nervous, but you can always over dye it. Doesn't work out the first time. Okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna go into the other room and work on those pans, and then we'll be back here. Okay, it's been about 40 minutes. So are you ready to take a look and see what we got? It's piping hot. So, love it, obsessed, so happy. So I'm just going to give this a good flip so that we can start working on the other side. But I'm really, really happy with how sharp that those speckles were. And it's like such a good mix of like highs, lows, deeps. We've got good separation of that one that I know that breaks. This is nice. Happy, happy, happy. Okay. So that was first flip. So I'm going to pull out my picture once again. Give me a nice point of reference. It'll reframe. So, okay. So I feel like we've covered our purples. I really love this like rustic red brown that we've got going on. Ugh, I feel like it's like gold, but okay. I think I'm going to try a little bit of a speckle. Oh, I'm not wearing my face protection. I'm just going, like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm just like going in. Always wear protection. Okay, I'm excited to see where that takes us. As you can see, I was so excited I just jumped in. didn't even put my mask on, and it's just so muffled with my mask on trying to talk. So what I did is I chose a reddish brown dye that I have and a very purple leaning brown dye, because I thought the purple brown would kind of help bring up some more of those very earthy purples that we've already kind of explored, but I don't think you can ever really have too much purple. And then that reddish brown I do think is going to hit that reddish brown circle really, really well. That's kind of highlighted, but I do feel like that purple brown, like I'm seeing it in the wood floor, like this piece. Yes. So I'm really excited to see where this takes me, and it's funny because originally I did not think that I was going to use either of these two dyes, but maybe I can put it here, because I just took a picture of it. It's a little crude, it's dark, but I just snapped a picture of it. So a couple days ago I dyed some spinning fiber, and it's a color that I'm going to call Coffee Shop, and I just washed it and spun it out today so that I could hang it up and dry it. And I was looking at it and I was like, oh my gosh, that really hits so many of the colors that are in this mood board. So I was like, huh, maybe I should use some of the dyes that I used to create that that colorway for that fiber. Maybe I should incorporate them into this. So that's what I did. I pulled out some of those brown dyes that I had used to create Coffee Shop, and I just put them into here. And I really think that they're going to be perfect because I love the way that that fiber looks. Yes, so I'm excited for this. Okay, so that was just our second flip. And so once again, there's nothing to do here but sit and wait. I do want to turn this heat down a little bit. So I don't like when it's like bubbling. So I don't know if you can really see, but when you get this bubbling, what ends up happening is it disturbs the yarn. So you can see how this end of the pan, the colors aren't as crisp, because the dye is kind of mixing together in the water before it has time to strike, versus this end we're getting nice sharp speckles because nothing is disturbing it. But these bubbles are causing a little bit of agitation before the yarn has time to strike. So to make sure too that we don't get uneven results, I'm just going to flip the pan around. Just the way that my electricity is, I only have, even though this is a double burner, I only have heat on one end because I can't have two with both ends. I either just have to have one or the other. So that's why I can't have both ends on. I can either have both ends but only one pan, or one end of two pans. And also when I'm getting a little bit of like smoky steam like that, I might actually want to add more water to this pan. I've turned it way down, like it's, I actually just turn it off for a minute and kind of let things cool. But if I'm getting that kind of like a steam that to me I'm like, I don't like that kind of steam, it's a little too localized. It's not like general pan steam, it's like a very hot spotty steam. I'm just gonna pull it off. If it keeps going, you can add water, but I don't want to disturb these speckles, and so adding water is going to kind of disturb the speckles, bring the water table up, and I don't want to do that. I just want it to cool down a little bit. Do that. It's really hot. Like the hot plate is not even on anymore. Just trying to dissipate some heat. Okay. I'm just going to turn this back on just low. I'm going to keep an eye on this. Okay, so that's all there's left here. I'm just going to babysit this pan for a little bit, make sure that nothing is going to burn, and if I need to, I'll just add a little bit of water, get that water table up a little bit, and I'll see you in about 30 minutes when we're ready to add more color. What direction do you think we should go next? I don't know. I don't know, because where I was going, like I had mixed up what I thought we were going to do next, and then I saw that fiber, so the plan has been scrapped. I have no idea where we're going next, but I've got about 30 minutes to figure it out. So this is the joy of dyeing yarn, and I hope the customer likes it. That's always the scary part too. Okay, so see you in 30. So I'm getting a little bit nervous because I still don't really have a new plan. But let's take a look at what we have. It's pretty. It is pretty. Oh, it's so pretty. So we have lots and lots of speckling. Purples. We definitely have our deep browns, our deep purples. That's really pretty. So I'm going to flip this over again. And now that we've effectively done both sides, so when I do my third and fourth flip, what I like to do now is seek out areas that look like they are bare and need more attention. So now I take the time to kind of open these skeins up. Usually it's like that kind of middle portion that's kind of inside that zip tie. Turn that heat back up. And the pan has stopped boiling over. So I really wanted to go bold, and I just loved that very like amethysty, like purpley pink. I loved that color, and I don't know, I kind of think I still want to do it. So originally I had kind of prepared this, which I do think is too much. So then I mixed up just a little bit of black to kind of tone this down a bit. And let's see what that does. So I'm just going to take a little squirt. Oh, that's fun. Okay. And it's actually like, oh my gosh, it's actually like fairly spot on with that color circle. Okay, so I like it. It's very different. It's going to bring this yarn in a very different direction. So now the next question is, do we just do like a full wash of color, like just let it go and all these speckles just become kind of undertones? Or do I just do like stripes, so it's just like a little pop of color? And I'm kind of leaning towards doing a full wash, so that, and that'll actually kind of dilute this down a little bit more, so that it's, so you get high and lows, because the more yarn you cover, like you won't have such a bright, vibrant section. And I think it's gonna look really pretty with all these like really dark brown and purpley sections underneath it. So let's do it. Let's go big, let's go bold. There's no turning back once we do this. Here we go. Boom, done. It is gorgeous. I just love this color. I can never go wrong with this color. I do feel like I probably could have added maybe a little bit more of the black to kind of mute this a little bit. Like it's not muted as much as I thought it would be muted. but we can always add like another wash if it still seems like this is like too far from the direction of the mood board. We can add some other washes. But yeah, so I just did like a big old sloppy pour, and that way it's just kind of hitting things randomly. So some areas will get like really dark, some will get nice and light, and it's just a really fun way to get highs and lows. And I'm just kind of opening up spaces, letting it move around the pan, strike where it wants. I'm also just kind of seeing what it looks like with the speckles. Okay, and it's like, this pan is just so hot, it's almost fully exhausted already. Like there's not much left in the water. And yeah, I do feel like it is just a little, is it too vibrant? I don't think it is. I just don't want it to like, I still wanted it to be very like more brownishy. I'm just debating now, do I want to do a wash in like a brown to kind of mute this back down. A wash in brown to mute this back down. So I guess this is technically my fourth flip, right? So this exhausted so fast. The water is basically clear. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn these skeins over. Once again, just looking for that kind of barest side of the skein to work on. This is pretty. It's very, very pretty. See, this is where it's like, I love it, but it's like, is it the mood board? Like, this is just where I just question my entire life. Like, I almost want to go in with like an orange or an amber speckle, because there is this like kind of orangey, ambery, golden color in the wood. This dripping on my phone. But I'm nervous to do that only because I don't want it to go Halloween. Decisions. What do we do from here? Okay, I got it. So, and it has to be this, right? Because this is that fourth flip. This is that final pass. Yeah, for efficiency and timing, this has got to be it, right? So I turned around and it was actually smack in my face. I don't know, is this on camera? I'll pull it off. So it was actually this color right here, I think would be really perfect to kind of round out our purples, this bright, bright pinkish purple, and our browns. I think it's just that kind of right, like jewel berry jam color that we need to kind of bring everything together, because right now this pinky purple is a little too far out here from our browns and deep brownish purples. And then I did also mix up another brown that I think it tends to be a really pretty wash color that, again, I think is going to help to kind of mute things down a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't go wrong, but I am going to test it. So I'm going to get another squeezy thing, and I'm just going to kind of see, you know, what it looks like on certain areas before I just go wild. And I like that. I like it. So it's giving certain areas kind of like a mocha color, but I do like what it's doing to this berry. So here we go. We are going for it. And actually I don't know how much I want to use, so I'm not just going to dump the whole thing like I did before. I'm kind of seeking out those areas of the really intense purple. I like what it's doing is it's mixing. So I think for my final batch, I think what I'm going to do is actually mix these two colors together for that third wash. But I do like the mocha color on the berry yarn as well, so maybe I'll keep them separate, because it is a really pretty layering of color, so it is coming out really pretty. Definitely a lot of dimension going on here. Very pretty. Okay, and so for the berry color, I was going to speckle it. I was like, where did I put it? Okay. Whew, that is that. I'm really excited to see how that's going to come out. Yeah, so now it's just the waiting game. So we gotta let that heat for, so both that brown dye and that red dye that I just put on there, they tend to take a little bit of time to exhaust. So I'm probably gonna let this heat for a good 45 minutes, if not a little bit longer, and then I will give it a good wash, and I cannot wait to see what it looks like dried. So I'll see, you know, do I want to tweak anything for the final recipe, or is this it? So if this is what I go with, awesome, because it's one less batch than I have to dye. But otherwise, this becomes a test batch. And so these are the special test batches, the one-of-a-kinds that about twice a year I have a sale in my secret shop. Usually it's at the end of the year, either right after Christmas or in January, and then usually in the summertime, July-ish, is when I do my 2 big secret shop sales where I collect up all of these little one-of-a-kinds, my test batches, all these kind of random skeins, and they go up in the secret shop. So I don't know if this is going to be a secret shop batch, but maybe it will, maybe it won't. But they're always special, especially because you might be able to kind of tell like what batches they were from or started off being. So very excited for that. And if you are local to the Rochester area, make sure that you stop down to Lithbridge Yarns in November for all of their absolutely wonderful 6-year anniversary specials, and you'll definitely have to see what my color ends up being, because who knows, maybe this turns out terrible and I just go with something completely different. You never know. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. You can find me online on Instagram at megsco_yarn. You can shop my yarn at megsco.com, and I would really love it if you would like and subscribe to my channel, and especially if you want to see more. So until then, see you later.